Welcome to Tuesday Night with County Executive. I'm Arundel County Executive Stuart Pittman, and our topic tonight is Veterans Affairs. And before I introduce the guests that we have on here, I want to just give a little bit of a background on why we're doing this and who's gotten involved in county government lately in helping to serve veterans better. So when I was running for office, I was briefed by Colonel John Church, who's here, and others on the needs of veterans, and also on the, in some cases, the lack of information that we have about who the veterans are when they come for services, whether people are veterans or are not veterans, and how many veterans we have in the county and where they live and what their economic impact to the county and their benefits to the county. The story wasn't being told very well, and John Church particularly had a lot of questions about this, and so I couldn't come up with all the answers. But one thing that I wanted to do right from the beginning is we had on our transition team a group, a subcommittee that was devoted specifically to veterans issues that John Church was on, and then we reconstituted and expanded the Veterans Affairs Commission of Anne Arundel County, which is a group of volunteers who are appointed by the county executive, by me, and they make recommendations for what the county should be doing. And I want to thank everybody who's on our Veterans Affairs Commission in Anne Arundel County, because this group of people has, I don't know about the previous commissions and how active they have been, but this group has been not only very active, but very clear that their focus is on helping people, connecting with veterans who need help, and making sure that they get what they deserve from the government that they have fought so hard and worked so hard, sacrificed so much to serve. And so we owe it to them. There's no question about that. But folks slip through the cracks if we don't do our work. So in addition to the Veterans Affairs Commission, we created a position which was Military and Veterans Liaison, and that's Pete Smith, who's with us. So we have Colonel Church with us, we have Pete Smith with us, and we have Gloria Dent with us. And I'm going to introduce each of you when you do a little bit of an introduction yourself, because I want to actually read their bios. I often get bios for these Tuesday nights from people, and I rarely cover much of what's in them, but I'm going to read every word of these because they're impressive. And I think it's important for people to know what these folks have done and how they've served their country. So let's start with you, Pete. And why don't you just give us some background on what you've been up to for the county, but let me read your bio. Okay.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. Okay. So it had some things I didn't even know about you. Pete Smith currently serves as the Military and Veterans Liaison for Anne Arundel County. He previously served as County Councilman, 1st District from 2012 to 2018, and was the Vice Chairman of the County Council in 2015. Pete serves as a Comptroller for the Department of Defense. He served in the United States Marine Corps for 23 years with 13 years of active duty service, and is an intelligence officer in the Marine Corps Reserves. He's currently a major and functions as the Reserve Controller for Marine Forces Cyber Command. He's got all kinds of security clearances and all kinds of cell phones he carries with him. He has traveled to many countries in support of national requirements, including overseas deployments and duty stations to Iraq, Afghanistan, Korea, Japan, and Cuba. He has a Bachelor of Science degree in Information Technology and an Associate of Arts degree in General Studies. He is also a Certified Defense Financial Manager, Contracting Officer Representative, and has attended the National Cryptologic School for Satellite Network Fundamentals. Pete is a member of the Military Order of World Wars, the American Society of Military Controllers, Toastmasters International, and the Marine Corps Association. He also serves as the Toys for Tots Anne Arundel Coordinator. That might be the smallest title, but the biggest job. Anybody who knows how hard Pete works and how many families get gifts at Christmas time because of his work for Toys for Tots, that's unbelievable. But anyway, I digress. Pete has 2 children, Isabella and Tristan. And tell us why we're here and what we're doing, Pete.
You know, it's always a pleasure to sort of educate
the public on what county government is, right? Because a lot of times, most folks, they just worry about the functions of their house, groceries, rent and mortgage and things like that. And they leave it in the hands of people like you who run the government to do the right thing and to always look out for their better half, right? And so my portion of that, and definitely appreciate the appointment that you were able to give me to work for you during this last 3 years since you've been in office. It has certainly been a pleasure having come from the council and seen the previous couple of different iterations of government. I can tell you with certainty that we have certainly been super active as a veterans commission, and John will certainly communicate more about that when he speaks here shortly. But my part is essentially to be that bridge gap from the government side of the house to the commission, who kind of drives the interests that we as veterans here in the county look out for and we seek for, whether that's lobbying and or advocating on behalf of different legislation that impacts veterans, whether that's services that the county could potentially offer to its citizens. The Veteran Commission is literally the captain driving the agenda bus when it comes to issues that impact veterans here in this county. And that's why I'm here to sort of speak and translate as an interpreter, if you will, between what we can do from a requirement standpoint from the veteran side of the house and the commission's desires to the functionality of the government, because there are some things that it's just not within our wheelhouse to be able to do because they are either done at the federal level or state level. And so I've always felt like I've been a translator to help bridge those two gaps to ensure that you have meaningful things that you can address within the budget process, as well as through the county council, to make sure that all 60+ thousand veterans that we have here in Anne Arundel County are being served properly. And so that's my job. I'm an interpreter, and I've done it for the last couple of years, and I truly enjoy it.
Excellent, excellent. And we're going to get to something that the commission created here in a bit, which is the Veterans Service Coordination Center. But we'll circle back around to that. And then there's a phone number that you're going to hear many times over related to that. Okay, Colonel John Church. I learned things about you in this bio I hadn't known, John, and I'm going to read it. John served 33 years in federal service, including 31 years in the U.S. Air Force, active and reserve, as a career intelligence officer with deployments during the Vietnam War and Desert Storm. His last reserve assignment was in the defense. That means you're old, John. I didn't realize. I thought you were only about.
Yes.
Sorry. His last reserve assignment was in the Defense Attaché Office, Beijing. In a civilian capacity, John worked at headquarters, Army Material Command, as a foreign disclosure specialist. Now I know why you were interested in my father's service in the Marines in China, because you were in Beijing. Okay. World War II. John has been active in his community as the HOA president and also Scoutmaster Troop 249, sponsored by American Legion Post 226, Edgewater. In 2010, he and his wife, Barbara, established Grassroots Education in Nepal, a 501c3 nonprofit charity which provides funding and guidance to the Meade Medium English School. Banyan, far western Nepal. This school is named for son Michael, a graduate of South River High School 2000 and St. Mary's College of Maryland 2004, who pedaled around the world in 2005 and 6 with a stop in Banyan, which changed John's life. John and his wife enjoyed traveling the world to learn history and learn about interesting cultures. Before COVID-19 restrictions, they traveled to Ethiopia and Georgia. John had Georgia, the country, I assume. John has been the chairman, Anne Arundel County Veterans Affairs Commission, Annapolis, since January 30th, 2019. So welcome, John.
Thank you, Mr. Pittman. I welcome the chance to speak. I have a prepared statement, so I have to refer to that. I want to, on behalf of the Anne Arundel Veterans Affairs Commission, I appreciate the opportunity to speak today and represent all the commissioners. This commission was formed in 2005, and today there are 17 commissioners, men and women. We're all volunteers, both former commission officers and enlisted, and we represent all military services. We represent you, the county executive, and participate in Memorial Day and Veterans Day ceremonies and more. Our mission is to advocate to the county executive on behalf of the estimated 60,000 veterans in this county to enhance the quality of their life and that of their families. So our commissioners are active in many national and local veterans organizations, which you probably know: American Legion, Veterans of Foreign Wars, and Disabled American Veterans. We also coordinate with the Maryland Military Coalition to follow veteran-related legislation in the Maryland General Assembly. And through this range of involvement, we can monitor new or changes in law or new government opportunities for veterans. And we stay attuned, obviously, with what's happening with very local veterans organizations. So as a result, and depending on the situation, this commission may look into an issue and try to resolve it and or make recommendations to Mr. Pittman and his staff. And since the beginning of 2019, this commission has worked hard to better understand the needs of the veteran community in the county, and in turn to inform and educate the county staff on those needs. So this effort started before the pandemic and continued during the pandemic. The goal of the effort has been to establish a county-level Veterans Services Support Center, which a veteran could contact and then be directed to the proper agency or level of government to help resolve whatever the issue might be. So these issues could include, and have included, housing, education, food, employment, claims of various kinds for veterans services and benefits, legal assistance, or a referral to either a state or a federal level VA veteran service officer. This commission conducted 2 leadership symposiums where county and private organizations came together and reached out to the veteran community and the organizations that they represent. We also coordinated during these symposium with the county executive staff, and several did attend these symposium. So our commission is very pleased with the progress that we've made. Last November, the county announced the formation of the Veteran Services Coordination Center, that was alluded to a few moments ago, which is meant to serve as a single point of contact for veterans to access services and support in the county. And most recently, as of June 1, the county executive and commission, our commission, has announced the establishment of a new point of entry telephone number for veterans seeking assistance from the county. That number, I'm going to repeat it, and you're going to hear it again, 410-222-3500. So the new telephone line is operated by the Office of Community Engagement and Constituent Services, which will take the call and route the call to an appropriate department liaison for the commission within the county government. We encourage all of our veterans to take advantage of this improved level of service. We think it's a pretty good step in the right direction. And looking ahead, our commission is investigating ways in which we can expand our outreach efforts and create more awareness of the services offered by the county and make the county veterans aware of these. So these outreach efforts include working with federal and state VA agencies, with veteran-related organizations, to include those at Fort Meade, the Naval Academy, and the Arundel Community College, where we have a member on this commission. And we're working also with various county agencies to include the Anne Arundel County Workforce Development Corps, as well as we've made new efforts to work with the county library system. I think that's going to be very lucrative. So that's a quick summary of what we've been doing in this commission for the past 2.5 years, and I'll give you a hint as to where we're headed. Thank you.
All right. So now you know about the Veteran Service Coordination Center. And I have to say that I said earlier that this commission was very ambitious and hardworking. They started out wanting us to build a building for this. And and we couldn't come up with the money for that or to have a building. And the evolution of the idea, I think, came through some of those meetings you had where, and we eventually got our chief of staff to meet with you and talk about this idea of having a training in each department of county government that provides services about veterans needs and to know what specific services for veterans exist outside of county government as well. And so there's a liaison in every department now that is supposed to be up to speed. And I know you're still in the process of educating those folks, and that's very important. So we feel good about that. But we found that in order to really solve a problem, often it takes the whole government, and it takes the government being coordinated across agencies. So, which leads us to the next speaker here, Gloria Dent, who specializes in exactly that, who understands that in order to help an individual or a family, you've got to know the system out there, and Gloria does that work. But let me read your bio first, Gloria, because it's I won't say it's even more impressive. It's very impressive. Gloria Dent, after 37 years of federal service, that include 26 in active duty U.S. Army and 4 combat tours. Gloria culminated her military career as the former and first National Director for Veterans Employment and Initiatives for the U.S. Ability One Commission. In this congressionally mandated position, Dent executed the first apprenticeship employment program focused on leveraging the federal procurement programs to create employment opportunities for wounded, ill, and recovering veterans. Dent is an active community leader and serves as the COO of iCommunity Connection Services, a community-based nonprofit organization with extensive expertise in veteran services, credential apprenticeships, training platforms, and innovative work in professional careers. Dent is also the owner and chief executive officer of Genergy, a service-disabled, veteran-owned small business management consulting company designed to accelerate veteran, women, and minority-owned businesses. Dent serves as an active member of the Anne Arundel Workforce Development Corporation, thank you, and the Planning Advisory Board for Anne Arundel County, thank you again. Both volunteer positions, and so thank you for your service, Gloria. Tell us what you're focusing on and take us to the next step.
Yes, thank you very much. Not only for you, County Exec, for inviting me, but also for John and Pete allowing me to be a part of Anne Arundel County's Veterans Committee. So we serve as a partner for the county to be able to help navigate veterans that are experiencing various different things from post-traumatic stress, military sexual trauma, and homelessness. So a lot of the county resources are available to veterans. It's really trying to help them navigate that process. And so we do that through the help of the veteran service organizations. One Profound is right here in Annapolis with Post 141, working with Gunny Jones and his crew with their Monday through Friday to just make sure that veterans that are need assistance can be able to, we can respond and react to them. In addition to that, we've had a lot of good experience with working with veterans, but we've had Gold Star families, and those are those families that have lost loved ones in the line of duty. Those families that, of course, their sons and daughters have made the ultimate sacrifice. And so we want to make sure that we not only are able to give back to them, but we provide them rapid resources. And we work with the county to be able to do that. Of note, one thing that is really important, and these are good news stories, and I want to share this, and it's, so we had a veteran a couple of weeks ago that was died as a result of COVID, did not have insurance, did not have any other resources. And so we was able to work through the county with the Veterans Affairs, so several individuals, and we were able to bury the veteran in a timely manner in Crownsfield Cemetery. So that's just one of the examples of how we work together to make sure that we can give the veterans the best services that they deserve. Another case was really near and dear to my heart. Was a veteran that was homeless with very young children, and those children were special needs children. And so one of the programs that we focus on is making sure that we can aid people with disabilities, especially those veterans that are wounded, ill, and injured, and helping them navigate resources that's available to them. So we were able to work with Cricket from the county and do a triage on the veteran. And today I am happy to say that as of Monday, she will be moving back into her home. So that's the first that the county has found out about that. So we're very excited about that. So that's just a little bit about what we do, but there's veterans in the county that need assistance. We are at the American Legion currently, Monday through Friday, making sure that we're there to provide the aid and assistance that they need.
Excellent, excellent. And for those who don't know what cricket is, I can't even remember what the acronym stands for, but I know exactly what the process is because we had a cricket team come on to Tuesday night with the county executive one night, and we went through the exercise of a imaginary family and how it worked. It's when a group of from the school system and all of our different agencies actually sit and listen to a person's crisis and their problems and their predicament, and everybody pitches in with their ideas, and then somebody follows up with all the others on how we can help this person get back up on their feet. So it's a really innovative. We've won awards. The county has won an award from the Maryland Association of Counties for this program. It's really effective. So Pete, in addition to the commission and the service center and all of that, in your job, you also liaison with the institutions in Anne Arundel County. Fort Meade, of course, being the largest employer in the state of Maryland, and a big part of Anne Arundel County. Describe to us, what goes on at Fort Meade and how this fits into our economy in Anne Arundel County.
I first wanted, and I'll definitely sort of sum that up. But it's interesting between the three of us, you literally have probably 80 plus years of military-related service and experience that you can sort of connect to help this process mature and become a better version of itself, right? But what we do at the county level, like as you mentioned, it isn't just to communicate with the Veterans Commission, but it's also to communicate with these other external organizations, whether that's the Naval Academy, which I had a call with their outreach coordinator here a couple weeks ago, who was interested in doing some stuff for the county when it related to either when the school gets back in session, as well as Christmas. We do a lot of things with them as well, but they just wanted to give me an update on where they were from a COVID standpoint and being able to do more now that everything is sort of coming back to a normal state. But Fort Meade, which is our largest partner in Veterans Center here and quite frankly in the state of Maryland, they have a weekly meeting, the Fort Meade sort of coalition, couple of different vehicles that we leverage and we use to interact with them. But their key leadership, as well as their PAO, Chad, we are in constant communication with to ensure that now they focus mainly on active duty people, but the veterans you have in our county, literally, majority of them come from that entity. And so having that partnership so that when things are impacting the Fort Meade, it more than likely will impact veterans because that's either commissary or the VA center. They have actually a vet center there on Annapolis as well that you can go to get claims and things like that assessed. So there is a small shop there on that post, in addition to the resources we have in Annapolis and externally throughout the state of Maryland, as well as in Baltimore. And so having that partnership with the colonel and the senior enlisted advisor and Chad, who's the PAO, is instrumental because, as I mentioned before, heck, I even came from Fort Meade when I transitioned from active duty and stayed here in Anne Arundel County to make it my home. And it's such a blessing to sort of have that in-depth relationship. And we also have partnerships with businesses who offer either veteran-related resources or incentives, things of that nature. You look at Mission Barbecue, for example, they give out sandwiches for veteran days and other entities that they push up. So groups like that on a regular basis are very heavily involved in Anne Arundel County. But the biggest piece is how did we get here, right? When you established that commission, when you were doing your transition, and the group of us, some 20 some of us got together to talk about what do veterans need. The intent was to actually produce something that was going to be meaningful for, as I mentioned, the 60,000 veterans, but also the 40 plus, if not more, family members who are impacted by veterans. So you're looking at a population of somewhere 100,000 plus that are veteran related individuals that we will assist on a regular basis, whether that's pointing them to a VA resource or if they need some sort of a permit within the various departments. Part of your guidance to us was to ensure that we came up with something that was going to be long-term, that was going to be sustainable, but effective. A lot of the issues that veterans face, most of the time, they actually deal with either the VA medical process or some other federal or state related program. But there are gaps that we found throughout the study of this process. And we understand that those gaps also impact veterans here in this county, whether that's with housing, food, resources, things like that, that you gave us the ability to be able to fill those gaps with the county resources. And so what does that mean? That doesn't mean that you're going to write some significant, $10 million check that comes up with this entirely new agency. That kind of wasn't the problem. The problem was, how do we work smarter with the resources that we do have? And so the concept of the Veteran Service Coordination Center came into play, and we were able to, as you mentioned, identify individuals within the various departments that we could leverage, who would become the SMEs, the subject matter experts, who could actually enhance anytime a veteran calls into that department. If they could not resolve that veteran's issue, they knew, because we trained them on a bi-monthly basis, who to contact to get that person's issue resolved. And so the biggest thing is, how do we build efficiencies into government, and how do we make it more effective and fine-tuned to address the needs of veterans? And so this 410-222-3500, and I will foot stump that. It's one of the things we had when I was in like basic training. The drill instructor would come over and he'd stump his foot, and he'd say, if I stump my foot, I want you to remember it. So I'm stumping my foot. 410-222-3500 is an important number to remember if you are a veteran, because if you call that number, we will be able to address your issues in some form or fashion. Even if we, the county, can't resolve it, we know who to pass it on to that could get you the assistance you need to have that issue remedied. And so 410-222-3500, and I'll say that again. So that's kind of who we are and what we are as a commission.
We'll let you close us out with that at the end. All right. Well, that's a great great overall summary of a lot of this work. John, I'm going to ask you something that's probably the hardest and I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this either. We did joke when we were planning this about how since I have not had military training, I'm not as organized as these other three who want everything to be, dot the I's, cross the T's, and planned in advance. And I also I have to say that there is a sense, and I've often thought about this. My father was in World War II, and then he was Assistant Secretary of Defense for Civil Defense under Kennedy and then Johnson. And I have his flag in my office, and the letter from Kennedy appointing him up on the wall, and I look at it all the time. But he knew that his kids who were not enlisted would never really understand, and we knew there was something about him that came from that we would never really understand. So, John, what is it? Why is it so important for veterans to connect with one another, stand up for one another, and what is that something that's different? Can you describe it?
I'll try. I think the essence of the answer is a common experience, and often hardships and danger shared with one another that doesn't occur in most positions, most occupations in our society. So that is what I think is most important. And when so Gloria and Pete and I look around and recognize veterans in this county who have gone through these experiences, but often have not stepped up to say, I'm eligible for, or I wish to examine and make a claim for specific services. We recognize you need to do this, because the longer you don't, the more difficult it can become to file a successful claim. And so I think that's the essence of what I am trying to represent. And so I will find, hopefully, the veterans who maybe as Vietnam era veterans didn't make a claim, but who are now experiencing health problems that they can pretty well justify as having come from their experience whenever that was, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. And subsequently, Gloria will help to navigate the system, which I think is the most difficult part of being a veteran making a claim. That is, there are often too many choices. If you don't have a computer, if you're not computer savvy and patient, you're out of luck often. So I'll stop there.
All right, thank you. I remember sitting next to somebody at the Naval Academy who I could tell was a graduate. He was older and he was there, and we were watching the I forget what they even call it before the games, when they're all out on the field doing the formations and what is it? It's beautiful. It's very disciplined. It's
The precision drill.
The what?
The precision drill.
Yes, it was precision. I think they even had another name for it, but somebody out there is probably can send it to us on Facebook Live. But and I was just really struck by the level of coordination and discipline. And I turned to the guy at the end of it and I said, I wish every county employee could go through this same training. Government would work so much better if everybody had that kind of training. And he just turned and looked at me and he said, "We, not me." It's all about we, not me. Kind of stuck with me. But so Gloria, you, can you add to what John said about the need and the why it's so important to you, and then how you do connect people, because you're the one of us that really deals with the federal programs as well, and filing claims and all of that.
So this is very important. So I'll take a stab at where I know what I know, not what I think I know. Veterans are very proud. They're not going to ask for help. They, especially our Vietnam veterans, Korean War veterans, they figured out that they came in the military to serve, and they serve their country, and they're okay with never ever getting the benefits and entitlements. But I always explain to them that your benefits, your claims, if not for you, then for who? It's for your family. So a lot of the times I have to really spend a lot of time helping them understand that it's okay to file your claim. We need you to file your claim in order for us to be able to take care of you in a rapid manner, but in any manner. And so I think the one thing that I do know for sure is that the pride that veterans have is one thing that prevents them from filing claims. The second thing is that there is a very difficult, long, tedious process to doing anything with the Veterans Administration. Now, it's not because of I go through the medical system, it's not because of the difficulty of the system, it is the difficulty getting into the system. And VA has a slogan that says, when you're in, you're in. The part they don't talk about is how do you get it. And so that's where we come in at. So we really do work hard with veterans, not only to do that, but going back to one thing that John said is why veterans trust one another. Those are not his words, but this is, I can tell you that unequivocally that when I speak with veterans, I have no credibility until I explain to them that I am a veteran, that I'm a combat veteran, that I did 26 years in the Army and I rose to the highest grade there is, so I understand your pain. And then when I explain to them that I'm doing this not because of me, I'm doing this because you deserve it, then they start having a different mindset. And so I think I think one thing that you're doing in the county, that he's doing in the county, that John's doing very well in the county, is he's building that trust for so many veterans. And over the last month, we've had probably at least, and I did the count just in case, 22 Vietnam veterans that are here in this county that have never, ever filed for their benefits. And it was a great news story for us to be able to say, we're proud that we're here to be able to help them file these benefits.
Yep. Thank you for that. And thank you all for your service. What are we missing? Jump in. Anything else we need to share while we got people here?
Yeah, there are a couple of things there I think are extremely important. Dr. K, Pam Jordan have been extremely helpful. I mean, I know that we were hired to sort of
Dr. K, Dr. K, just for people who don't know, they might be thinking of Dr. Kalyana Raman from the health department. I think you're thinking of Dr. K. Bodgester Brown,
Yes.
the chief of staff, and then Pam Jordan is the deputy CAO for chief administrative officer for health and human services.
Okay. Yeah, the two of them deserve a lot of credit as well, because I think it's important to know that where we've gone from the internal workings of the county government, and then sort of integrating that with us as well as with Gloria, they have been instrumental in getting all of spearheading folks internally to the government to make sure they're at the team meetings and things like that. So that two-pillar system you have right there that you're resting on, they are very important to a veteran community because of their advocacy internally to the county government to make sure all those things line up. Some other things that I want to sort of point to when it comes to the veteran population here in Anne Arundel County. You got to think our charter government is only about 50 years old. Fort Meade, the Naval Academy, have been here longer than we've been a charter government, right? It is in our DNA, the Anne Arundel County, as far as the veteran population. So to have a county executive who is literally focused on how do we serve that population that has been here literally before we even existed as a charter government is important. And so, because leadership and direction, it starts at the top. So having you sort of put the pressure and the advocacy on internal to the governments to make sure the output is conducted or conducive to helping veterans is always a big thing. But the other thing I wanted to sort of speak to was this VSCC again, this Veteran Service Coordination Center, and that number, if you're a veteran, 410-222-3500. I feel like an infomercial, right? When the guy comes up and how I got a deal for you, right? We're not selling you any. We're not selling you any raw goods. We are committing the county government to being in a capacity to be able to help and assist whichever veteran needs assistance. And the first path to do that is dialing that number 410-222-3500. And I keep beating that because it's important. As John and Gloria alluded to, is as veterans, we often find ourselves that, you know what, we got this. I can stand on my own 2 feet. And Gloria spoke about it here briefly as well, is the fact that, we can be too prideful. But this isn't about us, it's about the next generation. How do we fine tune our government to be responsive to not just the veteran who is receiving services now, but it's also about the veteran who will receive services in the future. And if you're a veteran, that's what we care about, the people who are standing to the left and right of us when we're in battle, but also those who are coming up in the ranks underneath us. If you ask any person who's been in 20, 30 years, when they talk to some 18-year-old person or a 22-year-old lieutenant who had just enlisted into the service, it is this sort of like, I am passing the torch from my generation to your generation, right? And so it's important that my generation and John's generation and Gloria's generation make sure the system is functioning correctly, because those 18 and 22-year-olds are going to need us 10 and 15, 20 years from now when they are in our shoes benefiting from the same system that we helped create. And if we don't make it correct now, it'll be broke for them. So let's do our job to make sure we're looking out for those ones who have yet to retire and who will be a veteran needing our services 15, 20, 30 years from now.
I've seen that connection between the older and the younger.
Yes.
And it's beautiful to see. I just want to say that in my job as county executive, one of the great pleasures I've had is getting to know the superintendents at the Naval Academy and at Fort Meade. Colonel Nyland, I particularly got to know during COVID because he was going through the same struggles as me, having to just figure out, what's safe to do, what's not safe to do, what restrictions. He's sort of like a mayor in addition to being a colonel and mayor of a pretty decent sized town. And his job is to take care of those folks. So he's been great to get to know. And then I will be with Vice Admiral Superintendent Sean Buck. Was with him yesterday, sitting next to him at the dedication of the unveiling of the First Amendment, Guardians of the First Amendment Memorial. In fact, he had a very important meeting at the Pentagon, and his staff had told us he couldn't make it to that. And then he changed his mind and called the Pentagon and said, sorry, we got something very important going on in Annapolis, and he was there. I'll be marching with him also on the 3rd of July for the 4th of July Annapolis parade with the mayor and with him. He in his uniform makes us look sort of, like we're just the sidekicks, but he's a great man. Both of them are great people, and it's been a real pleasure to get to know them a little bit.
There are a couple of tax programs too that your administration has sort of been involved with maturing over the last couple of years, and one here more recently. If the population is certainly interested on that, some of the things we've done over the last 3 years is a property tax for retired veterans. So if you are a retiree receiving a pension from the U.S. military, you have the capacity and the ability to get a tax benefit from your property taxes when you call into the county. We can make that happen. And then there's also for those that are disabled. There's one recently, and I think that was Bill 10520 that just recently passed in the last few months.
And partially disabled. I think that was the bill, was to make sure that the not completely disabled folks were also doing it. Yeah.
Correct. That's a partially disabled. So if you're receiving a VA disability rating 50% or more, you will be able to benefit from that piece of legislation. That's 105-20. So if you're a veteran, there are 2 tax bills right there, or 2 pieces of legislation that impact your ability to save a few more dollars. And so I just wanted to put that out there.
What else are we missing?
Pete, if you don't mind, could you expound on your suicide prevention program that you've been spearheading for the veterans?
Yeah, so it's funny. There's Kevin Hines is a individual that recently, well, it's not recently. He's been touring for a number of years. I think around 2001 he attempted suicide, and he actually jumped from the Golden Gate Bridge and survived. And I can't tell you what was going through his mind when that happened. But what he would say to you if he was on this call right now is that he immediately regretted it as soon as the millisecond his hand left the pole off the Golden Gate Bridge, he immediately regretted it. Fortunately, he lived and he's able to tell his story. But part of the reason I bring that up is that we have been trying to educate folks on mental health and suicide awareness and ideation. Gloria has been helpful with that as well, as far as some of the programs and sort of nuances to route people. So if you are a veteran who needs assistance or who needs help or who are afraid, we just want you to know that we care about you. And this isn't just something we're just selling you or telling you online. We're saying it because we truly mean it. The 3 of us, including the county executive, are extremely, deep diving into how we can make this county better to every single veteran. And for those that are struggling with mental illness and things like that, give us a call, 410-222-3500, so that we can pass you on to Gloria, literally, so that she can help navigate some of the programs that and counseling sessions and things like that you can benefit from, because you have value in this county. And some of you may not think you do, but you do. And we need you to be here. We need you to be strong and healthy mentally. And that's why we establish these great partnerships like those with Gloria. And she could probably expand on some of the other nuances to that that can allow you to be your better version of yourself.
I do want to add one thing. So a lot of our veterans do not have their claims completed. So they really don't think they have any entitlements, benefits. So, and this is why our partnership is so important, county exec. This, honest to goodness, the reason why this works with Dr. Kay and with Pam and the commission, it works because in the interim, while we're trying to give veterans benefits and get them into the system, there's so many veterans in the county that's never had their benefits and entitlements. We are able to place them not only with nonprofit organizations, but resources within the county that all citizens are entitled to. But because they have served, we're able to actually give them a warm handout to the county and kind of expedite that process. The other side of that is that by coming forward, speaking, by dialing the 410-222-3500, calling that number will get you in contact with someone that can help you. And I think that's more important than filing your claim or doing anything else. 9 times out of 10, when someone constantly wants me to help them with their claim, that's probably the least amount of what's really going on in his or her life. There's so many other things that comes to bear, which is why the cricket triage roundtable that we do is so important, because we can offer those other services that are not there. I really wanted to highlight suicide. I'm a big advocate that most individuals commit suicide, not because of out of necessity, but because they feel like they have no other choice. This is all there. But we are there to help. If you are served in this country in any shape, form, or fashion, regardless of the branch of service, if you've never had a VA disability rating, any of that, you're still welcome to our services, and we'll provide them regardless to who you are.
And one of the places they'll send you first is probably the mental health agency in Anne Arundel County that has a warm line as well. And that's probably of all the kinds of service that veterans don't ask for when they need it is probably mental health, because we think we're going to make it. We're going to be okay. We're going to just tough it out, right? That we have one question from Helen, which is, do you provide help for homeless veterans? And I first just want to say that there shouldn't be any. I mean, they're just, the thought of somebody serving their country and then being left out in the cold is just wrong. But I also want to say that vouchers are easier to get. There are specifically vouchers, housing vouchers for veterans. Gloria can talk about that. But then also in the county, and so often people don't even identify themselves as veterans, so isn't known. But we have gotten much better. It's been helpful to have some federal CARES Act money during COVID. We were not. We had to separate people who were in homeless shelters, get people out because too many people in a congregate setting like that living together was going to spread the virus. So we're actually housing people in hotels, and we're in the process of looking to acquire a facility to be able to continue that kind of housing and then do the transitional housing. So Anne Arundel County in itself needs to do a better job at affordable housing, transitional housing, and homeless housing, and we're actually making real progress on that. Gloria, can you say anything about the vouchers and the federal programs for veterans?
Yes, so a couple of things. The first one is, so immediately we have a veteran that is homeless, identified as homeless. And homeless for a veteran means entirely different than what the requirement is for a typical homeless person. So for a veteran, if you do not have a roof over your head that you can call your own, you're living on your mother's couch, you're living on your grandmother's couch, you're living on your cousin's couch, you are homeless. And so therefore, the Supported Services for Veterans and Families grant is available to immediately to access those funds so that we can get you into a continuum of care so we can get you out of this homeless situation. That's the first step. Also, the county has a program that they deal with all homeless, regardless of whether you're a veteran or non-veteran. You're able to access those care funds for immediate needs. And so generally, we access the county's funds initially, and that's because we can do rapid housing through the various hotels that the counties have agreement with. And then finally, we have what we call the HUD-VASH voucher. It takes a little bit of more steps to get to the HUD-VASH voucher, a little bit more qualifications. But the good news story about the HUD-VASH is that if you don't qualify for the HUD-VASH voucher, you can still qualify for affordable housing, public housing, or get on one of the other different programs. So the bottom line, if there's anyone out there that is homeless, please definitely have them dial 410-222-3500. Not only will we be able to connect you to adequate resources for homelessness, but we can eradicate homelessness by you simply saying that you are homeless.
Excellent. Okay, thank you, John. Can you tell people how they can get involved if they're a veteran and they just want to be helpful? How can they get involved with the Veterans Commission or any of the activities that you do? Is there a Facebook website, any of that?
Well, we do have a website, Veterans Affairs Commission, Anne Arundel County, and there you can find minutes from our past meetings, photos and bios of the current commissioners. And I think if you're interested in working with us, contact me or one of the other individuals who are currently members and tell us. And more than likely we can find something important and useful to do. We have several initiatives, and I will walk out on a limb a little bit and comment on those quickly. We have contacted the Vet Center, West Annapolis, and consequently DAV chapter number 13, which until COVID had a regular scheduled visit to that center to deal with veterans who want to file a claim. We're working also with, I think important to say, American Legion Post 141, that's Gunny Jones. Gunny seems to be like a magnet. Veterans learn about him principally by word of mouth, and they go to him and he resolves their issues pretty effectively and legally. And he doesn't take no for an answer from most of the bureaucrats he deals with, wherever those people might be in the VA system. Let me sidetrack a little bit and make a quick comment I've been waiting patiently to make. I want to encourage veterans to step out, make themselves known as a veteran. This is the right time. COVID is behind us largely. And I think there's a high number of veterans in this county who are eligible for benefits. They've been reluctant for whatever reason for a long time, but this is the time to step out. Go see Gunny, Post 141. Go see Dr. Gatson at the Vet Center, or Joe Belvedere at the Vet Center. And to you, Mr. Pittman, I would encourage the county government, keep data, generate data. We can't operate very well without knowing what we're facing. And I've made this comment in the past, and I've tried to assemble data myself. It's not easy. The information is in various, not hidden, but obscure places. And so I'd appreciate some help in that department. Oh yeah, I just was reminded, 410-222-3500. Thank you.
All right, yeah, and on the data, part of it is just asking the question.
Any questions based on what I said?
Yeah, and with the data, part of that is just asking the question, are people, to find out if people are veterans. And that's one of the reasons we have the liaison in each department now to move that forward. So we're starting to roll to get to the end of our time here. Why don't I just ask, first, I just want to thank all three of you for your service, the service to the country, but also your service to this county and to the veterans in the county right now. I can tell why you do it. It's coming straight from the heart and no other reason. But I just want each of you to have an opportunity to, in addition to saying that phone number for the 100th time, anything else we've missed that you want to close with, or just sort of a closing comment?
I do have a quick comment.
Yes.
This commission has worked with Pete Smith and with Dr. K to explore initiatives that we think are worthwhile. And I'm going to come back to that topic. I hope by mid-August, right now this is coming from Montana, but I'll be back in Maryland in mid-August. So I want to pick up the ball and push on these things I'm alluding to. Pete knows what I mean, and so does Dr. K. So thank you.
I just want to add that we are grateful for iCommunity Connection Services to be part of the Anne Arundel County's Veteran Administration Program. And also the commission has been has opened their arms to us. If you are a veteran that are in this county and you hear my voice, please definitely, if you can't get to a phone and dial 410-222-3500, then you can come to the American Legion. And I can only echo the support that Gunny Jones continues to provide, not only here, but 9 to 5 every day at the American Legion. And he's garnered up so many of my volunteers until I have to tell them that you do know you don't work for Gunny anymore, right? So that's just how much passion he has for not only wanting to care for the veterans, but also, and I'll say this from my heart, this is probably the first time that I will be able to say that this county has wrapped their arms around veterans and put a program in place to where if you're an undocumented veteran, it's okay. You can come forward and we can get you the help that you need, whether you're a veteran or non-veteran. Don't be out in the county and have a need and not ask. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, it's funny. I remember growing up, and there was the carpet commercial, 588-2300 Empire, right? I don't know what type of carpet they sold. I don't know how many people they served in their community, but I remember the number because they said it so often on every single commercial. It was the one. So now I think of carpet, I think of 588-2300 Empire, right? Even though it's probably, I don't even know if that number is still active. So when people call and think about Anne Arundel County and they think of veterans, I want them to think, if you think of a veteran, you think of 410-222-3500. That is the instant connection that will allow them to inject into the system so that we can make things happen for them. Part of that is because of these relationships we have with the commission, with the leadership of John, Adger, David, and all those other advocates who are constantly pushing us to do better, be better, and go bigger when it comes to our governance of the veterans programs here in this county. And to folks like Gloria on the nonprofit side, government side of the house, who has spent countless of hours volunteering her time helping veterans, even though she didn't have to, but she did because she knows it was the right thing to do. And these people are what make this county better. These people are the ones that make this administration better. And so having them on board and involved is I think a blessing in disguise for Anne Arundel County. And so for me, it's just an honor to sort of be at the gate, sort of forwarding traffic back and forth to make sure that we take the guidance that you direct and you give us and mirror that and push it on to these entities that can help us create something that's real for veterans. My 23 years in the service has been a godsend to me because I feel like I understand most of the issues that veterans go to, whether they are amputees or mental illness or any of that, because I've seen it, whether that's through the VA or Walter Reed Medical Center, having gone there a whole bunch of times in the past, or my deployments, so on and so forth. At the end of the day, we are veterans here to serve veterans, to make sure that those veterans get the help that they need. And they can do that by dialing 410-222-3500. And under your leadership, we've expanded this to a significant capacity, and it's only getting better. And this is what John alluded to about expanding those wraparound services, just to make sure we get that hand-holding from A to Z, so that no service member feels like they have been left short-sighted, if you will. So I'm just grateful to expand on that and grateful for your leadership on it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, all of you, and thank any and every veteran out there that's listening to this. Thank you for your service. And please know that our staff wants to hear from you and they want to do what they can. So 410-222-3500. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.